Okay, so in today's video we're going to take a look at something we've been building over the summer months. This is basically a prototype 3D printed laser targeting system. So this was a project obviously you wanted to start earlier in the year, and it's obviously been in progress for quite a while, but I was hoping to want to do a video to let you guys obviously see what we're currently building and get your kind of comments and feedback on this. So essentially, the thought process here was that in Virtuascore.com, obviously, as you probably following the website, we like to obviously see if we can get like a sort of informal competitive score capture. So if you have a kind of laser targeting system, you have an air pistol or airsoft pistol, and you want to kind of compete against people online in terms of obviously, in an informal way. So basically, you can submit your scores against some of the simulators that we support. And obviously, that will be calculated as match scores each day. So it's just a kind of informal sort of process. I would like to see sort of more of a kind of formal competition based thing in person, maybe in the future if we can get people sort of together. But typically, sort of like what I found is when I spoke to people is that looking at the target laser systems that are on the market, such as obviously the one that we use predominantly here, which was the laser ammo smokeless range, and there's a few others. Typically, they put some people off obviously with the cost of ownership. And I can understand that. I have a laser ammo smokeless range system. I bought a number of simulators and add-ons for that product. Typically back in early lockdown here in the UK when I couldn't get on the range, and it was an extremely good product. Well polished. I like it a lot. I use it a lot. But I can understand some people's hesitancy to obviously invest in that because it can be a kind of expensive to get started in. Typically, it's aimed in the US marketplace regarding sort of police and military kind of training aids. You can obviously buy it as a consumer, but it is a kind of very polished product or whatever, and it comes at a premium price. So the idea was to see if we could potentially reduce that cost of ownership on a solution. And again, this is a prototype first attempt at doing that, to see obviously from a Virtuascore.com perspective if we can have our own solution. So pretty much here it is. This is the introduction to where we are currently. So just walk you through. So obviously we have the modules here. So these are the kind of laser rail modules. Typically, these are available in, or will be available in both infrared lasers and obviously red laser. And they typically are built in PLA material at the moment. So this is more of a prototyping material. It's not the kind of material that we'd use as a finished sort of product. This is just obviously to prototype, to allow us to sort of tweak the design and sort of see, what works, what doesn't work. But it's kind of reasonably close. We've got obviously the kind of main sort of clamp here for the weaver or Picatinny rail. These are currently using sort of nylon bolts on here just for sort of a prototype demo purpose. It has obviously a laser fitted, and you have apertures here on the left and right for the kind of elevation and windage adjustments. Underneath there's obviously the on-off switch here, and you have a light showing obviously if it's active, and a charging port to charge the internal battery. Inside the housing here it has a sensor which detects obviously the vibration from the gas blowback pistol or the hammer fall. Okay, so let's take a look at the device here fitted on my Umax Beretta. So this obviously is now fitted on the rail here. This is a red laser version, so we'll go ahead and obviously just test this. So I'll power it on. See that's obviously powered up there. Do a few strikes. There's no gas in this gun, it's just obviously on the hammer fall. So as you can see, obviously the laser trigger in there. So essentially the devices themselves, whatever, will obviously detect the vibration either from the gas blowback or from the hammer fall, as you just saw in that demonstration. So it's kind of sort of like a kind of good solution here, and obviously coupled with that we have the kind of charging unit. So this is a USB charger with the connector we have obviously for the charging port on the laser rail attachment, and inside here we have a lithium battery charger, obviously which is obviously inside this casing here. That coupled with obviously the camera itself. So here we have a kind of webcam module, which was basically inside this 3D printed chassis. This one has a kind of red filter on there to reduce the glare from the projector. So this system works in a very similar way to laser ammo. So obviously you have the camera module itself watching a projected screen with the software that we also have our own version of the software, which I will show later in this video. So again, very similar to smokeless range. It basically has a projected image of obviously the screen, and when we project the simulator on that screen, the camera system and the software looks for the laser hit. So wherever the laser splash would be, that was obviously where your virtual round would be on the simulator. So kind of inspired by the kind of laser ammo smokeless range system, that works flawlessly, and we're kind of sort of building the system to sort of like trying to kind of emulate that same sort of process. So this is obviously, I mentioned, prototype first, obviously build. Just wanted to sort of just run this video past you to sort of like get some comments and feedback if you think, there's something that would interest you. Again, we haven't really thought about obviously how this would ever be sort of, finally sort of produced, whether it would be a kit based or we would have sort of, systems that are fully fleshed out. Again, that's something obviously we can obviously deem as being the best approach, whatever, when we get sort of something that's fully working. At the moment, this obviously works on my tests that I've done. There is a few issues I want to sort of like try to address around the sort of software side of things, but it's currently sort of in that prototype phase, and it is operational. It's just obviously sort of something that I need to spend some more time on. So what I hope to do then is I'll now introduce you to software and just walk through that quickly and show how that works and some of the differences on there. And then we'll do future videos, obviously showing some being demonstrated on some of the Virtuascore simulators that we have. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at the software then. Okay, so here we have the software. So this is the laser detector software. So essentially the camera is obviously on looking at the projector screen, and you can see the repeated image here. So what you have to do initially is to obviously align the image perspective adjustment. And again, this is beta software, and it's probably subject to change, but we've got a process at the moment where you can use these controls for the top left and right corners, and you can then adjust obviously the image's sort of perspective or keystone the projector has. And then obviously you can also adjust the position of the image. So we're doing that here to centralize it. And you can also adjust then the size. This is the vertical increase. So we're just increasing the vertical size of this image. And the goal here is to try to get the each of those corners, top left and bottom left and right, to actually align, to overlap. So the little kind of inverted L-shaped symbols you see in the bottom left-hand corner, top right, we're going to try to align those. So essentially what we're looking at here is obviously having the mouse obviously being tracked where the laser hits. So this is a kind of process we've found the kind of simplest way of doing this. It sort of means that obviously the user has full control over obviously how the kind of setup is done. And again, you can see here that each of these controls are slightly different. So this control needs slightly adjusting here. So we use this to align that. And this we find it works reasonably well. Again, sort of like it just obviously means you can go through this process step each time you set up the system. If your system's in a fixed place, so you have a fixed camera position, then you could obviously persist and store this after you set it up and use that each time. But if, like me, you're setting up the kind of camera and a projector each and every time, because obviously you can't allow it to be sort of like set up initially, then you'd obviously have to go through this step. So once you're on here, then have the calibration sort of window. So here I'm firing the laser off screen at the projector, and you can see the camera's picking up the splashes. And that's pretty much it. So once you've done that, you close obviously this screen and you're good to go for using the simulators. Okay, so thanks for watching. Catch you next time.